All right, welcome to another episode of The American Dream, the only show that combats negative media, not owned by a network, commercial-free, no scripts or teleprompters. What you're going to see on today's show are national interviews with really inspirational guests. You're going to absolutely love them, but also in each city, we tailor advice to your own local marketplace so that you know how you can accomplish your American dream. That being said, let's start our show right now. Every single day, you are consumed with information. With the 24/7 negative news cycle and a pop culture that's polluting the airwaves, all selling out for the ratings game. Well, guess what? There's a more positive way to look at life. You live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. And every day with our elite network of professionals, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage. And now it's time to fight for your American dream. See this thing right here? The ultimate disruptor of business. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on the show. American Dream, international business. We got some great stories lined up for you. I want to put things in perspective before we get started. Uber, the #1 taxi cab company that doesn't own a car. Airbnb, the #1 hotel chain that doesn't have a hotel. Amazon, the #1 retailer that doesn't have shops. What am I trying to share with you? The world of business has changed. People are online. But with disruption creates opportunity. So we're going to dive into some of those opportunities today here on The American Dream. Check out these great guest interviews on the show.
Well, our next guest on The American Dream is entrepreneur Scott Alfred. Scott, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
So awesome to be here. Excited to be here.
So for those that don't know you yet, can you give us just a little bit of your background in a nutshell?
Yeah, for sure. Well, a little bit of a different entrepreneurial story. I started by mistake when I was, 7 years old on my parents' acreage and selling eggs. And then this just kind of ended up being in this entrepreneurial almost vortex of like all these different types of things that I did. And I had this very successful, teenage life of being able to do all these different types of businesses. And then by the time I was 21, I was almost $1 million in debt. So, I really built a lot of things, and then, of course, went reverse, and ego and pride took the best of me, sometimes as they do as entrepreneurs. And I went backwards, and now it's 5 years past that, and I currently own 4 different multi-million-dollar businesses, and I help other entrepreneurs scale 7-figure businesses because I believe that that's really where we can truly have abundance and a freedom in our life.
Okay, so that entrepreneurial spirit seems like it's been with you since you were born.
Yeah.
That moment that you were 21 and you had $1 million worth of debt, what are some of the biggest takeaways or lessons you learned from that moment?
I think what it really comes down to is understanding the fact that failure is not necessarily real. It's just what we're perceiving something as, right? We're going through the process of life, and in our process of life, we can perceive something as failure, but rather it's actually the lesson that is required, that is a must-have in order to be able to do what you're actually supposed to do. So I'm here sitting at 26 years old, being able to do these really amazing things, working with amazing people, being able to change the world, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have failure, because that quote-unquote failure allowed me to really, truly tackle the inner side of ego and being able to tackle the inner side of pride and all these sorts of different types of things that now allow me to show up and help other entrepreneurs today. So I think that was the biggest thing, is like failure is not really necessarily quote unquote real. Mm-hmm. It's rather how you perceive it. And that, when your back is against the wall, you just show up every single day and you get 1% better, 1% better, 1% better. So that's some major things, without taking 30 minutes, that would make, that were my largest lessons.
Okay. And at first, when that happened, was that your initial perception, or did you need to learn that?
No, that took some time.
Okay.
That took some time. And going $1 million in debt also doesn't, you just don't wake up one day and you're $1 million in debt. It took a process, it took time, and it took time for me to process this. And it took me years, actually, to kind of cut the anchors, because when you have failure, it doesn't matter if you have a business or not, when you have failure, you anchor yourself to the past. But you got to realize is that the past is the past, and the future is yours to actually create.
All right.
And I think that's took me a couple of years to really embody that and feel that. But
sure.
I think that everybody needs to understand that the future is the future.
Well, it looks like your future has been really bright. You help other entrepreneurs as well as having the successful businesses that you have. So what are some of the things that have given you that success or that you cultivate that bring you success in your businesses? And do you take anything from there to help other entrepreneurs find that next step in their business?
Yeah, so it really comes down to there's pillars inside of a business. There's marketing, there's sales, there's finances, there's operations and mindset, and sort of the delivery, right? And I call them the 6 pillars of a 7-figure business. And so what I discovered is really if we utilize these 6 pillars inside of our business, we're able to accelerate its growth by almost being a risk mitigator of saying, well, you know what, how are we getting new leads? How are we actually getting new sales? How are we delivering this? And creating a scenario where as the entrepreneur, we can become a business owner that is looking forward into the future of saying, hey, here's how I want the business to be set up. Here's the foundation, because business is a long game, not a short game. And I think a lot of people play it as a short game. But if you play it as a long game, you're going to be able to have a future. You're going to have sustainability, scalability, all these different types of things.
Yeah.
And then I think what most people don't realize, because being an entrepreneur is very lonely, because now you're separated from most of society, right? And so that brings a lot of mindset changes, a lot of changes about how you view money, how you actually view yourself, how you view those that are around you, how you hire teams, how you do all these different types of things. And so there's a huge mindset difference between an entrepreneur than anybody else in the world. And so really I've been able to go through a lot of these changes over my time of entrepreneurship. And that's what I essentially do, is share these mindset differences, these changes, so that an entrepreneur can upgrade their reality.
Amazing. So I love how initially during that moment of failure at 21, or that perceived failure, it was all about perception. And now looking forward to the future, your business isn't helping others. It's really this mindset, this perception shift.
And for me, it's my business now is kind of a couple of reasons why I necessarily run it. But one of the largest reasons is simply because of the fact that you don't have to go through all this failure, right? You don't have to go through all this failure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for coming on the show and giving your insight, and we loved having you here.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
All right. And that was Scott Oldford, entrepreneur. We'll be right back. You're watching The American Dream. Next up on our show is the CEO and co-founder of MedSpace. Please welcome Barnabas Perez. Barnabas, thank you so much for coming on to The American Dream.
Thank you.
So for those that don't know about MedSpace, what is it?
So MedSpace is a software-based product. It connects the patient with post-acute services. So what we want to do is we want to create the ecosystem around post-acute services so that patients can have on-demand services when they need them. Additionally, we connect the patient upon discharge of the hospital with optimal care. For example, if a patient speaks a specific language, has a specific type of culture, has different type of medical diagnoses, we take all of this information and then we connect this patient with optimal post-acute care. So we're a web-based platform and mobile-based platform for the patient.
Okay, so this will help patients once they leave the hospital and have at-home care and take certain things into consideration, like communication and maybe cultural differences, things like that?
Yes, exactly. So if you imagine it, it's kind of like it's a mix of Airbnb, it's a mix of Amazon, it's a mix of, what's another good one? Allscripts. Allscripts also has a function like this, but it's a mix of all these different functions that aren't really connected together. So we want to connect all of these so post-acute services can communicate better. So for the patient. Make it a
little bit easier, maybe, or more streamlined.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with this idea? Was there a certain motivation or inspiration behind it?
Yeah. So I'll give you a quick example. When I was going to college, my father was diagnosed with a few different problems or medical diagnoses. And at that point, he was at the point of discharge from the hospital. He was assigned a home health agency. I did notice a few problems there, and one of the problems was that the nurse could not communicate properly with my father. She couldn't speak his language, right? Another thing was culturally didn't fit with my father. My father was very culturally involved with himself and his background. And my father also had a mental issue, and he also had a physical issue. So those were two things that a nurse should have been prepared to take care of. However, this nurse, I believe, it wasn't her fault, obviously. It was just she was matched with the wrong patient. At that point, my father always expressed to me that it was always very uncomfortable when this nurse would come over and take care of my father, and that shouldn't exist within this realm. Yeah. And obviously, this realm is still growing, so this is always happening. And I think that's one of the things we want to solve. We want to make sure that the patient is being matched with quality care for his or her profile. Additionally, when my father needed transportation from his house to a dentist, I called the home health agency, and they said, you need to schedule it 3 days before so we can do this for you. And I thought that shouldn't exist in this field. So because of that, that's the on-demand services that we want to also provide. We want to connect transportation systems. We want to connect DME on demand. You know, if you need your oxygen tank refilled, you should get that immediately, and you should have an immediate access to order those type of things. So that's our secondary platform for them.
All right. So I imagine we had talked ahead of time, but kind of like how, you know, you can go in your phone and press on the Uber or app or Lyft app and get a car right away or within minutes. Barnabas, thank you so much for coming on to the American Dream and sharing your insight into MedSpace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Barnabas Perez, CEO and co-founder of MedSpace. Be sure to stick around. American Dream. We'll be right back.
All right, joining us on the American Dream also, I understand we're doing a Facebook Live as well. This guy has a ton of passion, author, speaker, CEO of Cardone Capital, the Grant Cardone, to talk about the American Dream. Grant, good to have you on the show.
Dude, I am an expert on the American Dream.
Yeah, well, some people say it's dead.
Well, I think it is dead for a lot of people because a lot of people quit dreaming. I mean, to dream, you got to dream. So that means you got to work. And unfortunately, a lot of people think somebody else is going to make this thing happen when it's not going to happen. And this has been true for 200 years here. The dream here was made to happen by people that left a nightmare, came across the pond and said, I'm going to make a dream now because I'm free.
You know, you make a good point. There's a lot of political arguments about immigration and the wall, but the one thing that we should all be able to agree to is that millions of people want into this country, not out of it. So I think that's a statement in itself, not to mention we have a military that's willing to die for your freedoms. You get paid on retirement, veterans, disability, unemployed. So this country takes very good care of you in every shape or form, and the opportunity, I believe, is there. But you got to dream big, and it's okay to be biased about dreaming about the country that you live in, just like it's okay to be biased that you have the greatest mom. So what's the American Dream mean to you?
Well, for me, it means I have the freedom to do what I want, think as big as I want, and go as big as I want. Nobody's going to arrest me for doing that. Like, I think the only people that take America for granted are the people that actually live here.
True.
Everybody that comes here, you come here from Argentina, Venezuela. I'm in Miami today, so I got a lot of people that came here from South America, a lot of people that came here from Russia that work with us. They're like, hey, man, this is a dream, bro. Protect it, secure it. They don't have a problem with walls because they're inside now, and they're like, hey, wall, no wall. I want to be here. I love being here. Now I need to focus on the opportunity, not the politics. And the politics are always there to distract people. But the reality is, what are you going to do with the opportunity you have here, whether it's 20 years, 30 years, 50 years? And there's a lot of people wasting time here, not taking advantage of those moments to really turn this into an unbelievable life for themselves.
You got a big event coming up. Tell us about it.
9,000 people showing up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all of them are there to 10X their dreams. It's called the 10X Growth Conference. They're there to 10X their businesses, 10X their lives. The business and entrepreneur owners that we speak there are people that are looking for freedom. They're building businesses because they want freedom in their life, regardless of the country they live in.
Who are some of the speakers that you have?
Oh my gosh, we had 20. Well, first of all, I'm gonna be speaking every day, so that by itself makes it worth
Yep.
the investment. My wife's gonna be speaking there. A guy named Ed Milet. He's got a network of 50,000 people. WFG, one of the larger companies in the world. We have a group coming in that the guy did $4 billion in advertising sales last year. Man, the name's just like crazy. Ty Lopez is gonna be there. Built, 10 million, 12 million people online. So we got retail business owners there, online business owners there, and everybody there is going to be talking about 10x your business.
9,000 people there to pursue their American dream. Awesome, man. Well, good for you. You're doing a lot in the real estate space now. So I think a lot of times when people hear the American dream, they make that reference of owning a piece of land. What are you doing with real estate? What are you doing with real estate investing?
Well, Louis Glickman said that the best investment in Earth is Earth itself. And what we're doing is we basically, somebody just threw my plane in.
Yeah, I picked up on the airplane that just flew in onto your desk, man.
Dude, the plane's for sale, by the way. I'm selling the plane. I mean, this goes to show you how real the American dream is, okay? Real estate, I own 5,000 apartments today. Real estate, I started buying real estate in San Diego 25 years ago. Real estate is the ultimate vehicle for people to create financial freedom for themselves. And so while everybody's all excited about Bitcoin right now, the truth is a majority of wealth in this country is invested at some point in income producing real estate. Whether your business produces income or your real estate produces income, if you can somehow, without going back to college, accumulate enough real estate that pays you income, you're going to have financial freedom. So that's what we do at Cardone Capital. We buy very large deals. These are $50 to $100 million apartment complexes and or office that produces income day one. And our investors and myself get to participate in passive income while we wait for the appreciation over long periods of time.
All right, make sure you connect with Grant, learn about his upcoming conference he has going on, the books he's selling. The guy has so much going on. You can find him online. Truly an inspiration of the American dream. Always good to have him on the show. More coming up next. Well, as you know, the American Dream is a national program where we focus on business, the entrepreneurial spirit, overcoming adversity, finance, the market, all things that are relevant to empowering your American dream. But a big topic of conversation on this show is housing. So what we do is we integrate local, top-producing, award-winning realtors to cover a wide range of topics on that subject, different micro markets, different niche subject matter. Housing is such a big topic, so we're going to bring you a lot of information right now from some of the best in your market. Let's check out these interviews.
Our next guests today come from Portland, Oregon. We have Gary Horton with us today. He's a real estate specialist and a top 10% realtor with RE/MAX Equity Group Broadway office. And he brought with him today Justin Reardon, who is the owner of Spade & Archer Design Agency. Gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the American Dream.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for having us, Sarah.
So I know you've brought your design man in today, Gary, and I want to know if both of you can kind of touch on this. How important is the staging process, and how important is it to actually stage a home?
It's very important to actually stage a home. You can. The biggest thing is like an empty house. You'll always see the flaws. To where if you got staging in there, the eye will be tricked into looking at the staging itself instead of seeing maybe the hardwood floors that aren't completely done or something, or whatever the case may be. And when Spade & Archer does come in, they do just an awesome job when they put the staging together. Justin, you can kind of touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely. People are going to see 5 or 6 houses in a day, and you get a condition called buyer stupid, where you really don't get a good idea what that house looks like. When you walk into a staged house, you know instantly how big that bedroom is, where you can put your couch. If you're going to be able to have 6 people at your dinner table, it just kind of tells a story of what your life is going to be there quickly.
That's just it. And I did actually have a listing once that Spade & Archer did come and do. We had a weird layout, and we couldn't figure out how to do the furniture in there. And Justin and his team came in, and they set it all up, and believe it or not, the house sold so quickly. And the people who bought the house, I walked by there, they still have it decorated the exact same way that Spade & Archer did, which is kind of cool.
That is really cool. It's like you really help them to maybe visualize something. So Justin, if people are interested in using your services, what types of offers do you push? What kinds of things can people expect when they use your company?
Absolutely. First off, it's a free consultation always. You can book it through our website at spade-archer.com. And we're the world's first guaranteed home stager. So if your house doesn't sell, you don't owe us a dime. So that's kind of a cool process.
Yeah, I would say so. So in addition to the staging, I also understand that using a professional photographer is also imperative. Can you talk about that process a little bit, Gary?
Oh, yeah. The professional photographer is very important because of the fact that the pictures are, that's the first thing that the people are going to see. They're going to go online, they're going to look at the pictures, and you need to get them to come into the house. Nothing's worse than sitting there looking at a picture of a bathroom, and you see in the mirror the agent's arm sticking across as they're trying to take a picture with their iPhone. You see the iPhone sitting there. And it's not the good quality whatsoever. And then, you get a professional photographer on the pictures that you are seeing behind us. DK Photography, his name is Dylan. He does a wonderful job on taking these pictures, as you can see here. And it was so inviting, and everybody just absolutely loves them. So
great.
Well, it's great.
I know that you have a listing too, so I want to make sure we touch on that. So the listing that you have, describe that for us. And then I'm also interested, staging and photography. How did you utilize that with this listing?
Well, the listing that I have is a great little 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,134 square feet. So it wasn't too big, but it had a beautiful yard and a great layout the way it was done. And Spade & Archer did a fantastic job coming in and taking the pictures. The pictures of the front that Dylan took when he did the photography, it was great. It was so wide open, and you can actually see the fireplace in the corner, the richness of the floors, the colors were awesome. Everything just turned out great. So great that when I did the open house this last weekend, I had probably about 50 people that came through. We ended up with multiple offers on this house, and it sold for way over the asking price. So we are actually under contract. My sellers are just tickled pink. They're so excited.
I bet.
And it's just, I think the staging did everything because, Spade & Archer does actually help with the colors of the paint. They tell you what colors to paint. In fact, at some paint stores, they're actually called Spade & Archer paint.
Yeah, that living room was Spade & Archer number 6. So.
Well, I love this.
I think it's, it's just fantastic.
I think this is just really great. I don't mean to cut you off, but the fact that, you said you had about 50 people come through, multiple offers, it's pending, and just the use of the resources around you, using Spade & Archer, having the professional photographer, seems like going that little extra mile really makes all the difference.
It sure does, and you can really tell the difference in the pictures. I mean, you could just really see it. It's just worth it. It's just worth it in the long run, and the professional photographers know exactly what they're doing, and they know how the angles to take the picture. I mean, you can take a picture of a corner of a bedroom, but that doesn't really display how big the bedroom actually is. So,
Gary's quite here in Portland, so he does a great job.
Great.
Thank you, Justin.
We'll take all the guesswork out of it. Contact Justin Reardon if you need to get with Spade & Archer Design, and of course, contact Gary Horton if you're looking to buy or sell. Thank you both so much for coming on to The American Dream.
All right, thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Take care.
You're watching The American Dream. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The American Dream. We take you out to Portland, Oregon, where we have Marie Boatsman, a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Northwest Real Estate. Marie, welcome to The American Dream.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you and have Portland represented here on the show. And so I just want to ask you, I'm hearing more and more that when people actually hear of Portland, they're thinking about wine country and the growing vineyard industry over there. So what areas are you seeing home buyers interested in and around this wine country?
Yes, I mean, real estate and wine country just booming these days in our area. So I'm seeing a lot of buyer demand and growth in the McMinnville areas, Carlton, Newburgh, Dundee, and of course, Sherwood.
Okay. So Sherwood, that sounds a little familiar. Where have I maybe heard of Sherwood before?
Yes, I mean, Sherwood has seen tremendous growth over the last 5 to 10 years. It's been ranked in numerous polls around the nation as one of the top small towns to live in. Actually, in 2015, it was ranked 6th by Money Magazine, and then Time followed suit, ranking it 5th. So it's definitely gotten some nationwide publicity in terms of just one of the best small towns. It's kind of right on the edge of the Portland metro area and Yamhill County, which is really the heart of our wine country. And it is a great small town feel, great community. We have an adorable little downtown area there, really strong, a desired school district. and great parks. So it really just is a really great community, and a new high school is being built that's slated to open in 2020.
Perfect. Sounds like a really wonderful area to live in. I'm a big fan of wine country, so I haven't yet been to Portland's wine country, but this is all sort of really enticing me to come visit and check that out. Can you show us any homes near a vineyard?
Yes, I would love to. I have a beautiful listing actually that sits on Conselman Road, right above Hawksview Cellars, which is one of Sherwood's really kind of premier wineries. It has amazing vineyard views, of course, of the winery, and also just this crazy panoramic view of the Cascade Range, and it's gorgeous. Besides the endless views, I mean, it has all kinds of neat features. It really has a Central Oregon feel to it, as it was built by a builder from Sisters, Oregon, and the architect was from Bend. So a lot of really Central Oregon touches on it. It has a giant Montana moss flanked fireplace, these giant beams that came from Bend in the living rooms, and just incredible features. Balconies off of every bedroom, and feels very private and secluded, yet it's just minutes from town. It's really the perfect place to host private events, yet it's completely warm and inviting for day-to-day living.
All right. So it sounds like almost anybody could really set up shop and move in there. Is there kind of a target demographic for who would want to maybe move there?
This particular listing is definitely a luxury market home buyer. So that's what this one is. There are multiple listings, though, in and around Sherwood that would definitely fit for, more of a wide range of buyers. And, in terms of Sherwood and investment potential, I mean, it is just a great community. And I think it's a perfect spot for somebody who's really looking for any type of real estate purchase experience, whether it's for themselves or an investment.
All right. Well, Marie, thank you so much for coming on to the American Dream today, giving us a little bit of information on what's happening in Portland. We love the fact that not only is real estate booming up there, but also the wine industry as well. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of that with us today.
Thank you.
And you're watching the American Dream. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out today's show. Our goal is to educate, empower, and engage your American Dream. Don't forget, if you have questions or want to connect with any of our guests, visit us online at americandreamnetwork.tv. Also, follow us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. If you like this positive message, please comment, share, breathe oxygen into it. We'll see you on the next show. In the meantime, cheers to your American Dream.